the Times of Israel, David Horovitz.
Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. Over the next few days, I'm honored to host a series of interviews about aspects of Israel that far too often aren't discussed in the news. Now, for America and Israel, democracy is a shared value that is cherished and protected. It's central to who we are and what we believe. Our first conversation explores Israeli democracy from the point of view of the head of the largest party not in the governing coalition. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Israel beyond the headlines. It gives me great pleasure now to welcome our guest, a good friend of AIPAC, the man who heads Israel's Labour Party, Israel's opposition leader, Isaac Buji Herzog. So welcome back to AIPAC, Buji. For Israel's first 3 decades, the Labour Party was the governing party of the State of Israel. Its iconic leaders were the international symbols of a strong and proud Jewish state. You recently took over as head of Labour. What's your vision for the party?
Thank you, David. Dear crowd, it's incredible to be here. Just allow me to say something personal before I respond. My late uncle, Abba Iban, who was a legendary spokesperson for the State of Israel, he was the founder of AIPAC in 1950 as ambassador of Israel to the United States. And my late father, President of Israel, Chaim Herzog, who was Israel's 6th president, his last public appearance, ending 60 years of incredible service to the Jewish people, was at an AIPAC conference in 1997. So for me, it's a great honor and really moving to be here. Thank you very much. My vision for Labour. Labour heads the opposition, and my intent is to bring Labour to lead the country, to win in the next elections, to lead a major center-left bloc in Israel that will make a change in Israeli democracy and lead the country to a better direction based on social justice and pursuit of peace.
Yitzhak Rabin, a Labour Prime Minister, was the first Israeli leader to publicly warn of the dangers of a nuclear Iran. When it comes to the potential threat of a nuclear Iran today, are there differences between the parties or a shared assessment?
When it comes to the threat of the Iranian nuclear program, there is no coalition and opposition in Israel. There is unanimity. I, as one who served in the Israeli Security Cabinet for over 7 years, and as an active member of the Israeli leadership for a couple of years, I can tell you outright, this is clearly the most dangerous threat to world stability, Middle Eastern stability, and to the State of Israel, and therefore we must join forces together to make sure that that program is blocked.
Tell us, what are the circumstances you can envision of Labour becoming part of a unity government with Prime Minister Netanyahu and the Likud?
It's funny to hear in an American audience the question of joining governments. You're used to two-party system. Our system in Israeli politics is based on a reshuffling of cards. I wouldn't say house of cards, I would say tower of cards. Anyway, what you need to do is you create coalitions and you lead the country. I expect Prime Minister Netanyahu to move boldly for peace with the Palestinians. I commend the Secretary Kerry's efforts in this respect. And if Prime Minister Netanyahu will move boldly to peace and make a Heraclean step, we will definitely be responsible and help him to get it done.
We said we're talking a bit about democracy here. What does it say about Israel's democracy that it champions the role of the opposition leader? And what can be done better to showcase Israel as a thriving, independent democracy?
part of the image of Israel is distorted because people do not realize how thriving is the democracy. First of all, our strongest arm of government is our Supreme Court. It is one of the strongest on earth. It is extremely liberal. I always say, people don't know, but Guantanamo in Israel would not hold one day in Israeli Supreme Court. People do not know the diversity of views in our parliament. We have views ranging, parties ranging from Muslim Brotherhood all the way to right-wing, even fascist parties. So this is something to account for our democracy, for the vibrancy of our public discourse, for the fact that we touch everything and free speech is as wide as possible and it's extremely respected. And therefore, as part of it, I lead the opposition. And the opposition is in Israel is a strange hybrid. I have 3 Arab parties in my opposition. One of them, as I mentioned, a parallel of the Muslim Brotherhood, and one was once a pro-Assad party and a communist party. I have 2 ultra-Orthodox parties and center-left Zionist parties such as Labour and Meretz. So you realize it ain't so easy to get an agreement on all the topics of the day. But nonetheless, when it comes to social and economic issues, of course, on other issues, and next week there's going to be a very, very heated week in the Knesset on 3 major bills, and we hope to succeed and topple the government as much as we can.
We have time for one more question. When assessing Israel's future, why should we be optimistic about the Jewish state and where it will be in 5, 10, and 20 years?
I think we have an incredible state and an incredible people. First of all, the beauty of it is it's the fact that our flame, the flame that holds us together, is the Zionist dream, but we also realize that Israel is a multicultural, multifaceted society. We must attend to it. We must meet that challenge. We must enable all groups of society to reach their dream. In addition to that, I think my optimism is based on the fact that we have an incredible young generation, promising, talented, brilliant, not fearful, ever zestful for new ideas, and ever demanding values that are so important. Think about it for a moment. In 2011, in the summer of 2011, 5% of the whole of the nation's population gathered in one city square in one night, screaming and demanding social justice, an amorphic term which stems in my mind from the fountains of Judaism, and this was led by young people. So therefore, I'm very optimistic. I know there are challenges, problems, and fears, but we should trust our people in their ability to overcome all these challenges.
Yeah, and that demonstration, remember, non-violence, ended with a pop concert. What
Absolutely,
a contrast to the rest
no
of the
violence at all. And you haven't seen such phenomena anywhere else in the world. It's a unique phenomenon, and it explains the uniqueness of the people of Israel in the sense that they are seeking something different, despite all the complaints and criticism and the problems and the mistakes. And we make mistakes, but show me other nations don't make mistakes. And therefore, we should look at where people were. I was Minister of Welfare and Social Services for 4 years, and I can tell you that I've seen the worst pains of human beings in a nation that bears upon itself the suffering of its history and terror and war and social strife, new immigration. But somehow all these pains do not transform into pessimism, but rather to a very optimistic society.
Yaffa. A lovely note on which to end. Isaac Herzog, Buji, leader of Israel's opposition, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. And it's an opportunity to thank AIPAC for the incredible work they're doing throughout the year. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.